Hi everyone, thank you for joining my session, bringing Microsoft Teams to the next level. Here there is the hashtag that you can use in the social network, so it's more easy to follow the content of this online conference. Okay, let's get started with my session. And let's kick off the first slide before to go in the core of this session. I want to say a very big thanks to our sponsor to make this online event possible. It's great to stay here today and to share my knowledge, but even to follow other session, and it's a great way to stay in touch with other amazing speakers and to follow interesting content in the context of Microsoft 365 and Azure. You can follow every session after 14 days in the YouTube channel of the Scottish Summit if you want to rewatch a session that you already followed, or maybe you want to see a session that you missed. Okay, let's start with few words about myself. I am Giuliano De Luca. I am an independent technical architect, blogger, speaker, and in May of 2020, I started to work more actively on my YouTube channel. You can find 70 videos there around Microsoft 365 and Azure. It's aimed to IT pro developers and end user as well. I hope that you will enjoy and subscribe. If yes, give it a try because it's very. I hope it's very useful. There are a lot of videos. Here the link to my YouTube channel and my blog, my Twitter handle. If you want to stay in touch with me, if you want to send me feedback or maybe you have questions, feel free. And finally, the GitHub account where you can find several solutions. They mostly are about SharePoint Framework, and I hope you can find something that helps you to get started and to reuse for your daily work. I am also the author of this nice bot, MyLeo bot. It's totally free, available in the Microsoft Teams store. You can search for MyLeo bot, and this bot helps you to automate tasks in Office 365. You can ask the creation of tasks in Planner. You can ask who is your manager. You can change the profile picture, and you can send an email. For example, there is an adaptive card that show up, and you can fill this form and then click on the button send, and the bot will send an email for you. I was born in Rome, but since 5 years I'm living now in Germany. Let's kick off the agenda. I will cover several points. First of all, I will open a discussion, a general discussion of Microsoft Teams, then how you can extend Microsoft Teams. I'll show you 3 demos, very interesting. We will see a personal app in action. We will see the new approvals app released recently by Microsoft. And finally, we will see a concept called Me Experience that give to the user the ability to have a personal space in Microsoft Teams. It is a personal app that aggregate personal information about the current user, upcoming meetings, emails, articles to read, and other information. And finally, we will wrap up this session. Now, moving on Microsoft Teams app, and let's start to expand the discussion here around Microsoft Teams. We have, speaking about how you can extend Teams, we have 4 capabilities: dashboard and tools, conversations, inform and notify, and apps. Dashboard and tools are basically tabs and adaptive card. Tabs helps you to bring your custom app directly in Microsoft Teams as a tab, for example, in a channel of a team, or as a personal app, which will be hosted on the left navigation pane of Microsoft Teams. and this will be available to every employee of your organization, or you can target specific users or groups or departments. Then we have adaptive cards that helps you to extend the dashboard of Microsoft Teams and the tools. So with adaptive cards across JSON snippet, with a code snippet, you can easily design your form. You can have title, images, you can have text box, you can have buttons, and through a button, for example, you can trigger, a user can trigger your process, can trigger a Power Automate workflow, can trigger an Azure function, an HTTP trigger Azure function, for example, and so on. Going through the second capability, conversations, we are able to extend conversation in Microsoft Teams through bots and messaging extensions. Bots can help you to build your conversation, what you want to paste in the conversation, what you want to say, or can help you to automate tasks. Messaging extensions are basically container or panel that show up when you click on the icon at the bottom in the conversation, and so you can basically develop a web part, a SharePoint Framework web part, and this web part will be contained in the messaging extension panel. So you can across an icon, you can open this pop-up, which will contain your web part, and then you can, with just few click, compose the conversation that you want to paste, that you want to send, and then you can just click on send, and you will send so this conversation in the chat, or with in a one-to-one chat, or in a conversation of a channel, for example. Then we have inform and notify. Microsoft has introduced recently a new capability, Microsoft Graph API. There is a beta endpoint for the moment that helps you to send a notification. So if you have an app, for example, let's say a personal app in Microsoft Teams, you can send across this app, you can send up, by consuming the Graph API, you can send a notification. So the user will see on the first icon on the left navigation bar of Microsoft Teams, on the bell icon, we'll see 1, 2, 3, according to the notification that you are sending. And when the user click on the bell, he or she will see all new notifications highlighted. And clicking on a specific notification, this will open your app. This will engage much more the user, and it's very useful if you need an action from the user in order to go with the next step of your process. Then we have connectors. Connectors, it's a great way to collect more information, aggregate information in a channel of a team from external services. I'm taking now a very stupid example. So if you want to follow a Twitter account, let's say that it's very useful to follow. Personally, I follow the Office 365 status Twitter account, because you have everyday insights and information when a service is under maintenance, or when it's down, or when it's slower than usual. And maybe you want to collect all this information in a channel of your team, and you can use the Twitter connector to connect the Twitter account to your channel. So every tweet coming from this Twitter account will push this information through your team channel. Then we have another nice extension that impacts the calling and meetings, and this is also quite recent, and you can basically create a bot, and this bot can start to automate tasks during a meeting. So, for example, this bot can start recording the meeting for you, or can sometimes ping the users, the attendees in the meeting with questions in the conversation, and stuff like that. And finally, in the last capability, we have apps. With apps, we have a great way to implement and integrate directly in Teams our custom web app. We can develop SharePoint Framework solution, web part extension, and so on. We can have total custom web app hosted on Azure and then integrated directly in Microsoft Teams. And with Microsoft Graph, which is the bridge that connects your application to the surface of Microsoft 365, you are able to collect information. Okay, let's move forward now, and we will go through every capability of Microsoft Teams more in detail. There are two kinds of app that you can build in Microsoft Teams, which are tab and personal app. A tab embed your web app, your custom web app, in a team channel. And this is helpful when you need to provide an application that collect information or provide feature team related. The personal app, it's more in general. You can think about to build an application which is useful to every employee of your organization, of your company. And you can even use personal app which are hosted on the left bar navigation pane of Microsoft Teams. And you can even target, as I said, specific departments or groups or users across the Teams policies in the Teams Admin Center. So let's say that we need to create a personal app for the HR, where we have confidential data there. So this app should be accessible only from a user which is part of the HR department. So you can easily create a personal app like that and use the Teams policies to restrict the access to only HR users. Okay, let's move forward now with the next slide, and let's discuss about bot. As I said, a bot, it's something that helps you to automate tasks. And you can create a bot, and you can use this bot to speed up conversations or to automate tasks. Let's say that you need to start a process that takes times, and maybe you can start this activity and you can trigger this process through this bot, and in the meantime you can do your work. A bot can help you to collect even information. Let's say that you have that in your company there are several platforms or several systems. For example, there is SAP, that there is Microsoft 365. So we have information stored in several platforms. It's quite difficult to collect specific information for a user. For example, a user that needs to find some info about the childcare or family support or other benefits. And maybe these are some information are on SAP, other information are on SharePoint. A bot can help you to find this information for you, saving your time and addressing you to the right resource by providing you a link or information as a text in a conversation. So it's very nice as feature. Then we have messaging extensions. As I say, these are located in the conversation. So you can trigger this messaging extension panel by clicking on a link and on an icon of the conversation at the bottom, and then from there you can see maybe some text with some button, and by clicking on the, and in this case, for example, we have several buttons. We have close, assign, and the third option, I can, for example, display tasks that I already have in Planner, and with this button, I can assign directly these tasks to a specific user, and the user get immediately this information, get the title of these tasks, get the description and more information, maybe with the link to jump in Planner. So this is just one use case, but messaging extension helps you to speed up conversation and to build text for you. Then we have webhooks and connectors. I already mentioned the use case with the connection through a Twitter account, for example, but you can have another service that you build in your company, and this is probably, I don't know, could be an external service that provide information, and through, for example, through an Azure function, you can send information via webhook to a specific URL, and so you can push info directly in the channel. This way works also when you mention a service. So probably from your channel, you need to send information directly to your web service. So it works in two ways. Then going forward, we have another great main pillar when we talk about to extend Microsoft Teams, which is Microsoft Graph. The Microsoft Graph API is, as I mentioned, the bridge that connects your custom application, your custom process service to Microsoft 365. It helps you to collect specific information related to files, users, groups, conversation, email, and so on. And finally, we have adaptive cards. This is very cool because you can build a fancy UI just by writing JSON. You can define title, text, image, text box, buttons, and you can build a nice carousel that helps the user to select an object instead of another. And this can trigger your process, can start to can go forward, or can trigger a Power Automate flow, or can trigger an HTTP Azure function that you created. So there are several scenarios, but this is very cool because you can build easily a UI with just a JSON, and there is also a link that you can find, or you can just type adaptive card. There is the main website provided by Microsoft with a nice designer that helps you to create your form. Okay, let's see now the first demo, how you can build the Me experience in Microsoft Teams. Opening this page, we can see that I have several information. I have upcoming meetings that I have my tasks coming from Planner. I have the latest, the last emails. Then I have sites that I am following, and here I have my feed web part added recently by Microsoft, where helps me to stay in touch with my team's mate, in this case Ligu. And then in this section I have the save it for later, and I added here this news because I want to read this news later with more time. And finally, we have here the organigram web part that I added, and this is focused when you start the page on Ligu, but you can navigate through every member of the organization. So this is basically, it's just a SharePoint page and aggregate personal information around the current user. Now, what I will show you is that I have exactly this page embedded in a personal app in Microsoft Teams. I have here this Me app created. So if I click on this personal app, basically I jump on this SharePoint page and I can have the same view. Of course, I have all the information that we have seen before. Now, the cool thing is that this is a no-code solution, so you don't need to write any kind of line of code to build this solution. Now I'll show you that if I open again this SharePoint page, and if I remove this last web part, we can see that immediately this information will be updated in the personal app in Teams as well. Now I remove this web part and I will submit for approval. I have here an approval workflow. We will see later also this demo, but now in order to publish this page, I have to follow this workflow. I will just type in the text box, okay. So if I refresh now this page, we can see that now the organization web part is no longer available. Now, if I jump here on Teams, this is still available, but if I refresh this app, the web part disappeared. So you can immediately update the content of this page, and this will be reflected, of course, in the personal app of Microsoft Teams. So this is a very great way to have your personal space in Microsoft Teams. You can follow this kind of approach if you want to embed just other kind of SharePoint page. But this is a very nice use case that I have seen here, and that's the reason why I decided to build this demo. Okay, now from a personal app manifest perspective, I want to show you what you need to do to build such experience. You have to use the App Studio for that. We will see later what it is. And in the Manifest Editor tab, you can build the manifest of a personal app. In this case, this one, Me, personal app. So here you have to provide several information about your app, the short name, the full name, the app ID. In my case, I clicked on generate and I created a new GUID. Then the package name, in my case I have com.contoso.me, the version of this app. You have to provide a short description, full description, then other information related to the developer of this app, the partner information, the app URL. Here you have to provide a privacy URL and the terms of use. You will find this in the app, in the About tab of the app. There is this website link, privacy policy link, and terms of use. This is very important to provide more information to the user. Let me open again this manifest of this app. And finally, we have the icon, the branding part, where you have to provide the full color icon and a transparent icon here. And then there are the section capabilities. This is very important. On tabs, what I have done here, I created this tab, add personal tab. And now I will click on three dots and then edit, because this part is very important. You have to provide a name of this tab, the entity ID. This could be any kind of number that you want. And then you have to reuse this URL provided by the Microsoft documentation. You have to provide the tenant name here, and then you have to reuse this link as is, as you can see. And in the last part of this URL, in the dest query parameter, you have to provide where is located your SharePoint page. In this case, my page is the under the home site, so then I don't need to specify which specific SharePoint site, because it's the main, it's the top site collection. It's my home site in my tenant. Under site pages, this page. Then save, and so basically in this way you are going to tell to Teams where Teams has to collect information. Then there are many other information, languages, but I have not filled out this part. You have to provide the valid domain, and this is very important, because if you don't add this URL where is located the page, you will get an error when you will try to open the app in the desktop version of Teams. Then in this part you can see an overview of this manifest, how it looks like. And with test and distribute, you can click on download, so you will get a zip package that you can easily install in the Teams admin center of your tenant, and in this way will be available to everybody or only to specific users or groups. And that's it. This is all you need to do to build such experience. Okay, we have seen before with the demo for the Me Experience app that the App Studio it's absolutely helpful when you need to create a manifest of an app. And it is very helpful also when you have to create an adaptive card. There is the card editor tab, for example, of this app, which is totally free and you can install from the Team App Store. Helps you to build your adaptive card, so helps you to create image, text, and buttons, carousel. You have just to copy the JSON generated and use this JSON in your process in order to send an adaptive card to Teams, for example. Then there is the last useful tab called control library that helps you to reuse Teams control like the classic button of Teams in your custom React application, for example. Okay, let's go now with the second demo. I'm very glad to show you this demo because I think it's very, very nice to see. Okay, let's go with the demo. I am in Microsoft Teams now, and in order to install the Approvals app, all you need to do is click on three dots here and you can search for Approvals. And this app show up, or you can just jump in the Apps page, and from here you can type Approvals again. And this app provided by Microsoft will show up. Before to go forward, I want to show you that with this button, you are able to create generic approval workflow. You can create, for example, here, marketing presentation. So let's say that you have an important presentation to showcase to the HR department or to marketing department. There are a lot of people there, and you want to be sure that your manager agree with you, with your PowerPoint presentation, and with the content that you want to speak about. And you can easily decide here in this field approvers who is the approver. In this case, I will set Ligu, and but I can even add another approver. And then you can set if require a response from all approvers or just by one of them. Let's say all approvers. And then you can provide here additional information and detail around this presentation. Please give me a feedback if I can present this. Then I can attach a PowerPoint presentation, this one, for example, okay. And finally, I can decide if I want to have custom responses. We have two options, but you can provide additional options by using Power Automate. You can build your own workflow, and in this way you can customize even steps. So, for example, you can have an approve button, a reject button, and then please provide additional information, and these steps send back the workflow to the to the to the requester of this workflow, and then the requester is able to fulfill additional information and provide and send back the approval request to the approver. Okay, let's use now the out-of-the-box feature. So then we will have the approve button and the reject button. Let's click on send, and this now will send a notification in Teams directly in the perspective of Ligu. I am connected here as Ligu, and as you can see in the activity feed, I have a new notification. If I click here on the notification, this will open the approvals app directly, and from here I can see the information that I provided before. I have the PowerPoint presentation that I can click and review, and then I can decide if approve or not. Looks good, and then I can click on approve. So now this presentation is approved. I will get this information from a user perspective that has generated. I can see that Liku has created and has provided her answer, and then we have the second approver, which is pending. The response is pending, and when the user will provide the approve, this workflow will end. So the status will change from requested to approved. I can even cancel the request at any time. But now let's see something of more complex. Going back again on my home site here, this is the being an home site is accessible org-wide from every user in the organization. So this means that we have to be sure that the content it's right and it's written very well. So if I create now a new page, let me start from something of existing. I will select this one, and I can type here Scottish Summit, and then let's leave as is the content. I will click now on this button, submit for approval. I don't have the button publish because I enabled the publishing page workflow with Power Automate on this page library, and I can type here, please approve this news, and I can click on submit now. If I jump now on the Ligu perspective, I should receive now an approval request, and here we go. And from here, Ligu can click on the page, can review this page, and can say, okay, looks fine, looks good. I will now approve this. Okay. And now this page is approved. And as I showed you before in the previous demo, now this page is published and it's available for everybody. If I refresh now this page, we should see in a bit this page that shows up. Let me go again on this page and let's see if it's published. It's approved. We have the approval status here, and oh yes, it's a normal page, so we will not see this page in the news web part. But if I jump now on this page, and if I click on promote post as news, now the button, the submit for approval button, is no longer available because it's already published at this page. And this means that now if I refresh the main page, we can see that now this news is available. How you can do that? In the pages under automate in the command bar, there is Power Automate. So here you can click configure page approval flow, and this will create directly for you an Power Automate flow. I will open now this Power Automate flow that I have here. It's called home site page approval. And basically this works, this is an out-of-the-box feature. So when you click on configure page approval workflow, you will have already every step in place in the flow.microsoft.com. So you have just changed in the start an approval step who is the approver. In this case, I assign it Liku. So every time that a member of the home site, an editor, create a page, create content, in order to publish this content, the approval step must be created and sent to Ligu, which is the approver. So this is a very great way how you can use the new and branded approvals app in your organization. Here I am now in my demo environment. I have Visual Studio Code open. I already scaffolded and created a SharePoint Framework solution. So for timing reason, I will not do that. So in this way, we can jump directly in the solution. This is a normal SPFX web part, and I created in this SPFX web part the main web part, which is Teams, and then I added using the Yeoman generator 2 additional web parts, OneDrive and SharePoint. Now, before to show you in action this web part, I want to show you that in the folder section, you can create your. I created here my manifest of this app, and I used here the ID of the main web part. This is very important because tell to Teams, to Microsoft Teams, where Microsoft Teams has to get the content. In this case, it's a web part hosted in the SharePoint app catalog. So then going again here in the app catalog, I provided generic information here around the developer, then the name of this app, team personal app, as a short description. In the full description, we have a different text, then outline and color icons, the accent. So, and this is the important part. We have declared static tabs here because I have 3 tabs here. And so you have to tell here to Teams that this personal app will contain 3 tabs. And I then added here the first ID of my first web part, which is Teams. Then there is the second ID of the second web part, which is SharePoint. And then the third ID, which is OneDrive. Where you can get this ID? This ID is available in the web part manifest. It is exactly this ID. And you have to use this ID and to put this ID in the manifest. Then finally, we have in the supported host property, Teams personal app. So we have to specify here in the manifest of this web part that this will be a Teams personal app. And that's it. So from a manifest perspective, this is all we need. I just want to show you in the package solution that I added true as flag for include client side assets, because I want to use the CDN provided by SharePoint out of the box. And then I want to skip the feature deployment. So this, because this is a personal app and will be tenant-wide available. Okay, that's it. We have just few texts in every web part, which are React web part, and I added here just base 64 code of an image, which is OneDrive in this case. Then we have just simple text just to show you that when I click on a tab and to another, we have a different content. Okay, then I created the zip in the Teams folder of this application. I added the manifest.json and the two icons. I created the package of this, and then I added this package in the admin.teams.microsoft.com portal. And let me show you also this step that I already performed. Going on the Teams apps, manage apps. Let me click on custom app. In this way we can arrange immediately and see the custom apps that I uploaded, and that's it. This is the TPA app that I uploaded. It's already published and available, and it's the SharePoint Framework solution is up and running in my SharePoint app catalog. I want to show you also these steps. The step that I performed already, and going on SharePoint, we have this app here, upload the team personal app client-side solution. Okay, that's it. Basically, you have two ways to deploy an app in Teams. You can directly from the app catalog of SharePoint click on this icon when you select your file, sync to Teams, and this will be installed in Teams. But I don't like this approach because you cannot use the About tab. You cannot provide your links, and that's the reason why I suggest you to use to create a separated manifest and to upload this zip package in the Teams admin center. Now, this app, as I said, it's already available. If I click on three dots, I have this app available, Teams Personal Hub, and here we have the first web part, Teams. Then I can click on the second tab and I have the second web part. And finally, in the third one, I have the third web part. So this is a single page application. Back to the slide now. It's time to wrap up this session. So we have seen in this session several ways how you can extend Microsoft Teams easily by using all tools that we have across SharePoint Framework, across the Power Automate and the Power Platform, and to handle with the Me experience and how to use personal app in Microsoft Teams. There are other several ways how you can extend Teams, but in the session it's very difficult to bring all possibility that we have. I try to summarize the most relevant and important from my perspective. You can rewatch the demo on my YouTube channel. I provided several videos on the Me experience, on the approvals app over Microsoft Teams, and how you can create tab apps and personal app in Microsoft Teams. Now, moving forward, I want to provide additional resources, how you can get started to work on Microsoft Teams. Here there is an important link, so you can take a screenshot of this slide, and this is very helpful because it helps you to get started. And there are also other link that helps you to make use of the Microsoft Graph API, which is very a focal point in order to extend Microsoft Teams. The Graph Explorer, how you can test and play. It's a sandbox where you can play with Microsoft Graph API. Then again, if you want to stay in touch with me, if you want to connect, feel free. There is my LinkedIn URL here and my Twitter handle. And again, there is my YouTube channel here. And you can even provide their content. If you have comments or feedback, please send me because I try to build my to-do list for my next videos by listening my audience. And finally, this is the QR code in order to rate my session. It would be great if you can scan this QR code with your smartphone and take and spend just 1 minute of your time to fill out the form. This helped me if you enjoyed the session, if the content was good, if I have to change something, and I very appreciate if you could provide feedback. Okay, again, I hope you enjoyed the session. Please use again the this hashtag Scottish Summit 2021 in order to help us to spread the word with this amazing conference. Thank you to all organizer, and thank you again for attending and joining my session. I hope a good rest of the day. Bye.